Hello guys, and welcome back for your July Falcom News Roundup. Massive thank you as always to Hansuke for all his hard work in making this known to us. Let's dive in. To start us off, I feel I have to at least mention this particular story or people will inevitably question why I haven't. Around the 22nd of July there was some information concerning Sound Team JDK and a rumour that Takahiro Unisuga had left the company after 15 years of service. Apparently this was confirmed by an anonymous Falcom employee, but on the 28th this was rebuked by Falcom themselves, who stated it was a false rumour, and apparently there are now anonymous sources supporting both sides. But that is as far as I will go with this one, because it's effectively a stalemate on both sides with no substantiating evidence to support either claim, and chances are this is how it will remain. All I can say is that I personally hope it is false, since Unisuga has been involved with some of my personal favourite songs in both Trails and Ys. Let's move on now to an art competition that Falcom were running from the beginning of March to June, with the winners announced on the 28th of that same month. It was naturally to commemorate the company's 40th anniversary and was split into different categories like illustration, a 4-panel section, and finally a creative section. There were both grand prize winners in the categories plus individual awards for selected art, with the president himself getting involved. There's a wide array of excellent art here done by some equally excellent artists. Have a look if you're interested, but as always, be careful for those spoilers. Now on to the merchandise, of which there's quite a bit to go over, and honestly some really cool stuff as well. We'll start with goods from Japan that caught my eye first, and I'll preface this with potential spoilers for Trails up to Hajimari no Kiseki should you wish to visit these sites. First of all, Kota Damashi appear to be flying the Ys banner high as they put up a bunch of Ys 8 merchandise like blankets, large acrylic stands and B2 tapestries. I don't really need to reiterate how much I love Ys 8, as I've said it many times before, but as a fan of this masterpiece I am definitely considering getting some myself. In reference to Ys 8 as well, it appeared that the Falcom store were putting up a few sales of their own, like collections of soundtracks including Lacrimosa of Dana's. And Falcom weren't content to keep their merchandise in-house, as it looks like they're also going on some sort of anniversary tour among 3 select stores in Akihabara, Moriya and Osaka, selling some exclusive items. This will be starting from July the 22nd, and they'll be selling items like mugs, keychains, t-shirts, but most notably, at least for me, were these medallions of some of Falcom's more famous IPs. Now the pre-sale in Akihabara, which is the first stop on the tour, has already begun, but I'm not sure if these items are gone for good once the tour is over. I believe they are going up for general sale in early October. So if you're curious about getting something here, I'd like to think you have plenty of time to do so. Rounding out the items from Japan, Kotobukiya finally revealed to us the final version of Reen's figure, which looks mighty swanky. This is going up for pre-order in August, and I imagine that's when they'll also provide us with an estimated release date. I'd say that there's a fair likelihood it will release after the Altina figure does in November, but you never know, I've been surprised many times before. Now moving to the west, and we'll start with Pinbox, who as we know have been very busy over the past few months. In particular though, they have done a massive favour for fans like me who weren't able to get the 40th anniversary Falcom shirt from last month's livestream, as they opened up pre-orders for the black and white variants with the same design, apparently due for release around early August. Needless to say, I bought both of them immediately. Now for those curious about the design, here is a doctored image for your pleasure, since there is a spoiler on there for Hajimari no Kiseki, but if you do feel curious and want one yourself, then you at least have an idea of what to expect. On top of that, they've also put up pre-orders for a Risha t-shirt and have also been hard at work with a new set of Trails pins. I wonder what's in this box. Finally, and this was something that was pleasantly surprising, there has recently been a collaboration between Falcom and Weu Records, who have produced vinyl sets and music boxes for the likes of Skies of Arcadia and Grandia, to name a few. And though we didn't get a music box for their Falcom offering, they did put up a very nice Ofen-Felgana vinyl and CD set, which is due to release in fall of 2021. Also, if you're one of the first 500 to pre-order the vinyl set, you get yourself a world map of Felgana plus a shikishi of the original art, which is handmade paper put on a hard backing with gold trim on the outside. A very nice item nonetheless if you're a Falcom or Ys fan. On to the games now, and we'll start with Ys, as the Switch and PC versions of Ys 9 Monstrum Nox released on July the 7th. Now, I am currently playing through Ys 9 for a second perspective, this time on PC instead of PlayStation 4, and I am admittedly having a better time with it considering the initial performance issues I had on my first run. And even though graphics aren't too big a factor in my enjoyment, I can't deny I do appreciate the larger draw distance as well. As for the Switch port, I haven't experienced this directly, but I have seen the odd clip which looks interesting, I guess? Probably not the one you want though, unless it's your only option. Now, we will be sticking with Ys for a bit longer here because there was some perplexing news that was reported on July the 8th, which stated that NIS America were planning to increase the prices of 15 of their PC titles after their recent sale ended, one of which included Lacrimosa of Dana, which went all the way up to $60 from $40. That's a pretty notable hike for a game that's over 3 years old on the platform. And as for this specific game, I think we can deduce why it went up in price considering what had just released the day prior. Don't get me wrong, I greatly appreciate NIS America for all the work they have done and continue to do for Falcom in the West, plus I do understand they're a business and they have to make money. But this move just comes off as needlessly shady. And I can see what's going to happen. They'll keep it at this price only to put it back to its original level in say 3 months' time for a sale. Why? Why tarnish the goodwill you had with the fandom after those excellent announcements last month? It just left a real sour taste in my mouth, and even though I do respect NIS America and applaud all the work they do, I just can't let this one slide. Come on guys, you can do better. Alright, now let's move back to Trails and some much better news. We'll start with the Sen 1 and 2 Kai Switch ports releasing in Japan. The first installment has since released and its sequel is due out at the start of August. And we finally got a full rundown of the pre-order bonuses for each game and where to get them. Now admittedly, you can't get the first set anymore due to the first Erebonian title already releasing, but Sen 2 Kai is still available for pre-order if you want one of the exclusive bonuses, so I felt it was worth showing if you're interested in some extra goods. In other news, there was an intriguing announcement on July the 7th regarding a fan project noted as Trails in the Dub, which showcased the prologue of Sky First Chapter with English voice acting for the first time. And it's pretty damn good. The people involved here have done a great job and I'm looking forward to seeing how they continue down the line. If I'm not mistaken, their ambition is to voice all 3 of the Sky games, which you can then mod into your own playthroughs, so give them your support if you're interested. Finally, as for the official English releases of Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure, I'm still not used to saying that yet, they are up for pre-order on Amazon. Still a fair amount of time to wait, but you can lock them in well in advance if you wish. And naturally, as we do with all of these videos, we will end with the latest title in the series in Kuro no Kiseki. There was a fair amount to get through for Kuro this month. First of all, the contents of the Spriggan edition was showcased for the first time, and you can find those on the Kuro no Kiseki portal. On top of that, on the 27th, they also showed off the box itself, which in typical Falcom fashion looks very enticing. Now, if you're not content with just the Spriggan edition, you can also show more support by pre-ordering from select retailers. And we'll list those bonuses off as well for your convenience. If you choose to go with gamers, you get a B2 tapestry and 4 acrylic stands. Chara Annie has an F3 canvas of Fee plus a brooch if you order the Spriggan edition. Army are sticking to their acrylic stands, Wonder Goo have their own original set with a cleaner cloth, B2 tapestry and 2 acrylic stands, and Softmap have their own original tapestry as well. Now moving on to the characters, we got a bit more information following that teaser trailer around 2 months ago. In this case, we got a synopsis and sprite art for Zin, Fee, and a new character in Shizuna, who is noted as a master of the Black God One Blade style, and she is also known as the Divine Blade of Silver. Following that, on July the 16th, the box art for Kuro no Kiseki was revealed to us, and the game also went up for digital pre-order on the 14th. Falcom also treated us a little bit more with another promotional trailer, which was shorter than the last one, but still interesting nonetheless. It was here that we found out a bit more of what Kuro has in store for us on the supernatural side, as we saw Van melding with a being known as Grendel, assisted by his custom-made hollow core AI, Meh. So with this, we now know who is in this promotional art. You have Van on the right hand side, you've got Grendel on the left, and finally you have Meh in the background. Finally, on the 22nd of July, there was a live stream from Dengeki, which pretty much consolidated all of this information, but also gave us introductions to a few other characters who most likely will be side members of the cast, like Nina, Gilliam, Ajanru, and Esmeralda. We also got a little more of a taste of the field battle and command-based combat with the characters that had recently been introduced to us, which looked very slick. And finally, Dengeki also showcased a bit more of their own pre-order bonuses for Kuro, in particular their B2 tapestry illustration and the ornament replica that comes with the 40th anniversary version, which was the one item I was most interested in seeing. Admittedly, it does look quite small, but I am still buzzing to get this myself. Not too long now. And there it is, guys, your Falcom news roundup for July is complete. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll hopefully see you next week for my Scarlet Nexus review. Peace.